What's up, guys? For the next couple of weeks, I've put together a series. I've entitled the series Prepared and Not Panicked. And I thought it'd be useful for us in light of everything that's going on, all the uncertainty, all the misinformation concerning the coronavirus. And really, we just don't know what's happening and what's going on. And we're preparing for something that is not going to happen, but is going to happen. And there's just a lot going on. And I thought this could be helpful. It's meant to be a resource for us to really take advantage of the time that we have to separate ourselves from the busyness of everything that goes on and really try to draw closer to God. And so I hope this helps. My intention is for it to be short and, God willing, sweet. And if you have any suggestions on topics that I can talk about or different things that I can do to help improve even the video, please let me know. I look forward to hearing from you guys. But today, I want to start by talking about something that I love talking about. You guys know this. It's about my family, all right? So the last couple of weeks, my wife and I, we were like, listen, it's time for us to get our kids to sleep in their own beds. Sometimes they make it through the night. Most of the time, they're sneaking in around 2, 3 o'clock into our bedroom. We wake up and there's like, everybody's in the bed, right? It's the hardest. It's very uncomfortable. And we were like, listen, let's try to make this happen. So we put our collective minds together and we started thinking of things that we can do to try to encourage them, to help them to stay in their own bed. So the plan that we came up with, right, our ingenious, never done before plan was a sticker chart. I'm just kidding, totally stole it from somebody. But it was working. It was working. We're doing it a sticker chart. Right? The sticker chart, you guys have probably done them. You've seen them. We came up with this calendar. And for every night that they stayed in their own bed, we gave them a sticker. And after they collected however many stickers they needed for the prize, we would take them to a store and they could choose any toy. Now they're 4 and 6, so the store is Five Below, right? And we tell them, listen, whatever you want, you can get. Well, not whatever you want, because now there's like a $10 section. Anything under $5 at Five Below you can get. I think one time my wife even cheated, and it was like $3. But regardless, they're fired up about it, and it worked for like a month. Right. Unfortunately, this last week, though, my little girl, she's been having some setbacks. I don't know if it's because of the stress that she notices in us or the anxiety and the tension in the air because of everything that's going on, but she's just been having a hard time staying in her own bed. And so she's been sneaking into our bed. Well, we wake up and there was one time she even tried to run back before we woke up, but I knew she was awake. But it's hard because my son's been staying in the bed, and he comes up and he's like, listen, I want my sticker. I'm putting in work. I want my sticker. And my little girl is like, do I not get a sticker? You guys know she has me wrapped around her finger. It's hard for me to tell her no. I mean, I've looked for loopholes in this like agreement between my wife and I, and we're like looking, okay, what's the spirit of the law? Like, what was the intention for both of them to stay in their own bed? Since both of them were not staying in their own bed, then none of them should get a sticker. It just wasn't fair for my son. So finally, we pulled my little girl aside and we're like, baby, you have to stay in your bed. Like, we can't like keep giving you stickers if you're not staying in your bed just because your brother got one. And you have to stay there. And she, like, her eyes started welling up, like I could see like tears, maybe just, she was just very emphatic about this. And she's like, Papi, I try to remember. I forget. She's like, at night when I wake up, I try to remember the sticker chart. I try to remember to stay in my bed, but I can't. I'm so afraid and I'm so scared. I can't remember. And of course, I gave her a big hug and I gave her a sticker. But it reminded me a lot of us. And it reminded me a lot of us in our response to everything that's going on. Right, we obviously our problems are much bigger. They're tangible. We can see them. They're right in front of us, and they're going to have some consequence. But it reminded me of us in the sense that like we're given to fear. We give into fear so much so that we don't even remember that there's a God out there who cares about us, who loves us, who wants what's best for us, who's in complete control of everything. Because we're so scared in the moment, we lose sight. We forget to remember how gracious and how loving and compassionate God really is. I came across this scripture and it's been helpful for me. It's given me a lot of peace over the last couple of days, and I hope it can be useful for you too. It's in Psalms 91. It's in verse 1 to 2. It says, whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Anything that talks about rest to me is one of those things that is just like, it brings me peace and joy, right? This is talking about getting rest in God. But the thing that tripped me up the most were these two words at the end. It describes God as both a refuge and a fortress. That confused me for a second. I was like, is the author just trying to like use a bunch of different things that describe the same thing? Like, are they synonyms of each other? Why would he, like, in the same sentence describe God in this way? And as I dug in deeper, I realized that there really are two very, very, very different things, right? A refuge is something that's not meant to be permanent. A refuge is something that you go to, it's a shelter that you go to because there's an immediate danger, right? It could be you being outside and you're lost in the woods or something, and it's raining and it's cold and there's this wind in your face and you're scared and you just need shelter. You look for a refuge, right? It reminded me of my little girl, actually. Many nights she comes into our room and she's like, Papi, 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 can you help me go to sleep? And what she means by that is just me picking her up, taking her to her room, sometimes praying with her again, but staying there for like 5 to 10 minutes. It's like, listen, I feel like I'm in danger right now. I'm scared right now. I'm going to be okay. I just need to be reminded that you're there to take care of me. And that's what we need sometimes. That's what we need to do sometimes. That's what I love about the scripture and how it's describing God. Sometimes we just need to run to him. We need to separate ourselves from the danger and go to him, right? Many of you guys during this time, you're going to have a lot of free time. You're going to find yourselves on social media. You're going to find yourself scrolling through TikTok. Listen, the temptation is for you to, it's going to come. It's going to hit you. Temptation, you're going to be tempted to be impure or to think impure thoughts. Right? This is the time when you need to pull yourself from that danger, from that temptation, and find refuge in God. You're going to be scrolling through Instagram, and the temptation is going to be for you to envy, right? To see what people have and their body shapes and just want to envy and wish that you could look like them or sing like them or be like them or have what they have. That's the time to take refuge, to pull back, to just step back and seek God, whether it be through prayer or just stillness or just literally shutting the phone off. Temptation is going to come when you find yourself on Facebook or you're listening to the news, when you see it, people going nuts out there, people going crazy, buying up all the toilet paper, and you see that you're running out of toilet paper. What are you going to do? You'll be tempted to be scared and to not trust, to not have peace, to not have rest. Those are the times where you need to pull back and just separate yourself from the danger and go to God. And it could be just something quick. It could be like, okay, God, I see that this temptation is trying to take a hold of me. I'm going to take refuge in you. I need to just separate myself and go to my room and drop down on my knees and pray. I need to just read a scripture, something quick to help me to draw closer to you. Sometimes we need to find refuge in those ways. The next thing that it talks about is a fortress, right? Think about what a fortress is. It's like, it's a home base. It's a whole military establishment. It's literally something that is impenetrable, right? It's protection. Sometimes my little girl, when she comes into my room, there's no, like just praying and waiting 5 minutes. Like, she's like, I've tried everything. And sometimes I'll take her to her room, try to help her go to sleep, but she comes back and she's like, I just can't. I just need to be with you. And that's what this word really started to get me to think about, being alone with God. There's a quote that's been so helpful for me during this time. The quote says, what a man or woman thinks of God is the most important thing about him and will determine the whole course of his life. I think that's incredible. I think that is so true. And I think this is what it means when it calls us to see God as our fortress. It's a calling for us to remind ourselves of his power, to remember how big God is, how powerful he is, how insignificant we really are in the grand scheme of things, and how willing he is still to care for us. And it's a calling for us to remember him, to pull back and just get to know him more. Sometimes that means that we have to get back into our Bibles and read about him, discover who he is, and really go after getting to know him, getting acquainted with his characteristics, who he is. It could be a calling for us to just sit still and try to listen to him in prayer. Obviously, I'm not necessarily talking about some, mystical revelation where he literally talks to you, but I think God in every day, in many ways, shapes or forms, he does talk to us, and it's about listening. So that's really all I have for you guys. Is just a call to remember that He not only is our refuge, He's also our fortress. And there's so much security, peace, and rest that comes in knowing that. And if we can do that, we can prepare ourselves and not panic. Listen, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I look forward to doing many more. And if, like I said, if there's anything that you guys can give me in the way of help, I would greatly appreciate it.